This is the Echo. Useful only in super close range, can't even one-shot reliably, and officially the worst gun in COD Mobile. Number 95 on our list. Sorry Echo, you're just not cutting it. But today we're ranking every weapon in COD Mobile from the absolute worst at the bottom to the very best at the tippity top. And before we continue, a little disclaimer, Battle Royale mode isn't taken into account, and we based our ranking on 100% free-to-play skins only. For the rest of the disclaimer, just check out the pinned comment down below and comment where you're watching from to let me know you read it. Next up at 94, we have the SVD. Goated a few years ago, now it's just a worse XPR in every aspect. It can't one-shot properly, the fire rate is slow, and the mobility is slow too. Don't use this. In the 93rd spot is the NA45, the only weapon in the game that I consider a troll weapon. Back in 2020, it was a nightmare, but now it's pretty much impossible to get valuable kills with it. Taking the 92nd position is the M21 EBR. On one hand, we can consider it to be an SKS with an optic. On the other hand, that's the exact definition of the XPR, which is better in pretty much every aspect. At number 91 is the Striker. Z helped one of his friends grind the top 1 leaderboard spot with this gun, so he knows the value you gain from it, and it's close to 0. Inside very close quarter areas you could get a few kills, but many things can do that without being a death multiplier. Sliding into 90th place is the Swordfish. It's the best long-range AR, but nobody's going to gunfight you at 70 plus meters unless they're using a sniper, so the strongest point of the Swordfish is to try to defeat snipers where they're the strongest. Number 89 brings us the RUS-79U. This weapon brings back memories from 2019, but I don't think I ever used it after that year. It could be good with a damage buff, but right now, it's just the worst basic SMG in the game. Up next is the HBRA3. Technically, the only true pay-to-win era we've had in the game was because of this in Season 3 2020. Now, it's just a boring AR with nothing good aside from a raw 4-shot time to kill, which is decent. Clocking in at 87 is the Dingo. The only good thing about this is that it has no recoil, but all the other LMGs do too. So, apart from wanting to do insane flick clips with a no recoil gun, the Dingo is pretty useless. Holding the 86th spot is the Pharaoh. Random recoil pattern, not particularly good mobility or range. We didn't rank it lower because of the taser attachment, but aside from that, it's just useless. And at 85, we have the KSP-45. Exactly like every burst weapon, this thing has the potential to be strong, but to be exploited, good luck. The reason why it was meta was because it had a stupidly fast strafe speed and absurd damage at range. That's what it takes for a burst weapon to be good. Number 84 goes to the FR556. Some French gun, thought it'd be good. Well, technically yes, you can get kills at long range easily with it, but the best mid and long range ARs are way better than that without even trying. Coming in at 83rd is the M4 LMG. As slow as the UL736 with not so good range performance, the only good thing about the M4 LMG is that it has no recoil and a decent BSA, making it easy to grind for headshots during your gold camo grind. Apart from that, it's not that interesting. Getting the 82nd spot is the Jak-12. A better striker or echo, not incredibly good still, but at least it can one-shot, burn down your enemies, and two-shot them with a slugs round. It has something to offer, unlike the other two. At number 81 is the MAC-10. This thing boasts the fastest fire rate in the SMG category with a blazing 1200 RPM. It was one of the strongest SMGs we've ever had in the game, but it got nerfed 9 hours after it was first released because you could strafe faster than you could run. Now it's just a team move version of the Fennec. Going into the 80th place is the Type 25. The last nerf this weapon got back in 2022 sent it to the ground with dinosaur fossils. Seriously, there isn't much great about this apart from the 4-shot time to kill, which is 210 milliseconds, but a weapon with just a decent time to kill and nothing else can get a good ranking. Moving on to 79, it's the ISO. We love the look, the feeling, the sound, but we're not about aesthetics here. We're about stats, and they're just not enough. Yes, in Master Rank, I could probably have fun with it, but I had fun with an NA45 there, so... Grabbing the 78th spot is the Striker 45. This weapon is quite confusing. It has great potential time to kill, along with crazy good mobility, but the recoil makes it so hard to use that I don't even know if I should rank it around 90th place or 20th. Now at 77 is the CBR4. This was the longest lasting meta in COD Mobile, and now it's been relegated to the depths after a few nerfs. Technically, it would need damage, BSA, mobility, and handling buffs to be good again, but honestly, we're happy to not have to deal with it anymore. Sitting at 76th is the HG40. This weapon has 22 meters of potential 3-shot kill range, along with 29 meters of consistent 4-shot kill range, but the rest of the stats are quite average, and some weapons can do the same with better stats. Sadly for the HG40, it's just outclassed. Up next, we have the Grau 556 at 75. It's an extremely easy to use AR with even worse stats than the HBRA3, but it's super easy to exploit fully. But even if you're exploiting it at its maximum, it's not that good. Good for beginners, but not that interesting for anyone else. Taking the 74th spot is the MSMC. Like the MAC-10, the MSMC just fails to do what a Fennec or other close-range SMGs would do. It's not completely bad, but the damages are a bit off in the second damage range. Here at number 73, it's the Chickum. This is the only weapon in the game that doesn't have a legendary or mythic skin for itself, which is quite sad because it's one of the best burst weapons in the game. It might look like a troll weapon, but it's actually somehow decent. You can ask our second writer about this. You might be surprised to find the HS2126 at number 72. You might think it's high on the list, but in reality, this thing is not bad at all. Paired with gung-ho and a brainless playstyle, it can be efficient as a sort of slayer in close quarter areas. Let's check out the PPSH-41 at 71. This gun has two major advantages that you can play around with. First, you have a 65 round mag build with insanely fast mobility, and second, the hipfire accuracy is great, so don't hesitate to use that to your advantage. Next up is the M4 at 70. It's an excellent weapon for aim training because of its absolutely stoic recoil. However, the damage isn't that good, and the mobility is just not good enough, and the BSA is pretty bad compared to the rest of its stats. It might be fun on shipment, but that's about it. Coming in at 69th, it's the LEG-53. Basically a worse Odin, but still, thanks to the 2-tap potential, it's pretty solid. And unlike the Odin, it doesn't have any recoil. The iron sights are honestly clean, and it's not that bad overall. Let's take a look at the MX-9. This is a good example of an aggressive SMG with incredible mobility and a fast fire rate, but it lacks range and the recoil pattern goes straight to the right, making tracking possible only when the enemy is going that way. At 67, we have the Maddox. Honestly, this weapon isn't necessarily bad, it's just not consistent enough. So when, for example, a Krig has some 3-shot potential, this one doesn't. Overall, not terrible, but not good either. Moving on, we got the Lapa at 66. It's an extremely niche SMG with great potential from 0 to 20 meters, and one of the most absurd strafe speeds at 4.8 meters per second. But the raw time to kill of 237 milliseconds and the slow fire rate makes it less effective in close range against a Fennec, for example. Coming in at 65 is the ICR-1. Basically, with FMJ and the macro mag attachment, you have an LMG with 100% wall penetration, a 1.55 bullet impact, and 50 meters of 4-shot kills. The only issue is that the 4-shot kill is equal to 300 milliseconds of time to kill, which is slow. Taking the 64th spot is the BY-15. You could call it the KRM that can spam. Honestly, the damage compared to a KRM is just off, so even though you can kill within one shot, which is why it's so high up on the list, it's nowhere near a KRM, and I wouldn't recommend using it over a KRM. Up next, the Holger 26. Not necessarily a terrible LMG choice, but some have the same range and mobility performance with better BSA, which is the major issue with the Holger, to be fair. Don't underestimate the AS Val coming in at 62. It ended up ranking higher than we originally imagined. It's an SMG disguised as an AR, limited by two things: its range and its bullet speed, which honestly destroys its performance after 27 meters. RPD is at number 61. Spray without ever reloading. That's the dream the RPD makes real, but it's not that great apart from that. Also, for an LMG, the initial recoil is quite high, making the first few shots quite hard to hit. Now, at 60 is the CR56 AMAX. It's not a terrible weapon in itself, it's just that in the AR category, which includes 31 weapons, not being terrible already means being worse than the rest, and that's what the AMAX suffers from. Here's the AGR 556 at 59. It has the same range profile as the Type 19, the same mobility as the PDW, and 60 bullets per mag with crazy good BSA. Why isn't it higher then? Because the recoil is horrible and the aim shake is awful, making it super weird to use. At 58, it's the M13. It's quite the opposite of the AGR in terms of feeling. It's really easy to use, but kind of like the Grau, the stats are just not good enough even if you exploit the gun at 100%, which is fairly easy to do. Taking the 57 spot is the Chopper. It has 23 meters of good time to kill, which isn't that great. But it has that weird ADS feature where you don't enter the scope, which gives a clearer view, and honestly, it helps a lot. At number 56, we got the M16. It's one of the best long-range ARs, if we didn't look at the recoil pattern, which draws an S, making the only thing we'd want this gun for, long-range gunfights, complicated. Here's a controversial one, the Switch-Blade X9 at 55. This is the most overrated SMG in the game. It has absolutely mid stats. The only good thing about it is that it has no recoil. If you like this gun, you're probably someone who uses BP50 everywhere apart from Summit. At 54 is the Bruin MK9. It's basically the first better version of the Holger with slightly better BSA. It carries 29 meters of good time to kill, which is enough for holding mid-range lines, which is what the Bruin is designed to do. Apart from that, nothing spectacular. Don't sleep on the ASM-10. With a Branson mag, this thing can make the enemy disappear in 133 milliseconds. Apart from that, it has 24 meters of consistent 3-shot kill range with no recoil, making it a great anti-SMG, but the rest of the stats are either mid or bad, to be honest. Here's the Arctic 50 at 52. It can one-shot and somewhat spam, and the ADS speed isn't that bad. It's a sniper, so it's up here, but it's a boring one. Next, we have the S36 at 51. It's Z's personal favorite, slow and steady, but with 54 meters of potential 4-shot kills, which gives you 240 milliseconds of time to kill. It's also the first LMG we've mentioned here that has to be used as a true LMG because of the mobility stats. We're halfway there. At 50, it's the Tech 9. This is a very situational weapon, which is why it ends up here. It has a full body 1 burst potential in its first 7 meters of range, and after that, it's 4 shots to get a kill up to 18 meters, which means at least 2 bursts. But with the insane mobility it has, it's quite easy to play this thing in close range. Next up is the SPR-208. This is the worst one-shot marksman rifle currently, but since it can one-shot and the ADS time is somewhat fast, it ends up here. Here's a fun one, the Outlaw. This has the fastest ADS time of any sniper in the game. It has an awful one-shot hitbox, but it's so nice for aggressive sniping that it could only end up here. Let's take a look at the classic AK-47. This is an easy-to-use 3-tap weapon. Arguably, for lower skilled players, it's a better choice than the DRH. But the raw time to kill is a bit slower, and the reload time is a lot slower, which makes it feel a bit off. Coming in at 46 is the ZRG 20mm. It can one-shot in the leg. I hope you don't need me to add anything because there isn't much to say. At 45, we have the FFAR-1. It's basically a worse BP-50. I would rank it higher, but it doesn't create any value compared to other weapons higher in the list, even though it's not a bad weapon at all. Here's the Cordite at 44. It has 80 bullets per mag, and I don't think y'all realize how stupid that is. You can spray for almost 6.5 seconds straight. Along with that, it has PDW type mobility and great range. What crushes it is that leg shots are highly punishing. Don't sleep on the EM2 at the 43rd spot. This is the second easy-to-use 3-tap gun. Technically a bit easier to use than the AK-47, while also having better range and mobility. The bullet speed isn't an issue at all, and overall, it's a pretty good gun. At 42 is the Hades. This is basically the best hybrid LMG if we don't count the MG42. This thing has great mobility stats for an LMG, and it is the best replacement for the Holger. And after the end of its 4-shot kill range, it has an infinite 5-shot kill, which is quite nice. At the 41st place, we have the QXR. A 5-shot kill may not sound like something great, but when you have 1000 RPM, suddenly that's not too bad. Pair that with decent mobility, good range performance, and a super easy to control recoil. The only issue with the QXR is that leg shots are highly punishing, so if you're not consistent with hitting the upper body, you don't want to use this. Sneaking in the top 40 is the OTS-9. This is the weapon that you should be using if you're a Switchblade X9 lover. This is just the Switchblade, but better. One of its strongest points is the sprint to fire delay. It's so short that it's unnoticeable and makes the run and gun playstyle really efficient. Moving on, at number 39, here's the HDR. Slow, but it can one-shot in the feet, and even if it's not your thing, you gotta give it credit, it's incredibly powerful. At 38, we have the Razorback. It has 20 meters of consistent 4-shot kill range and 40 meters of potential 4-shot kill range with PDW-like mobility. The only problem is the fire rate with 695 RPM, which is quite slow compared to other similar SMGs. But if you like the PDW, give the Razorback a try. Next, we have the Krig 6 at 37. Since we only rank based on free-to-play skins, obviously the Krig drops down a bit. But with 31 meters of 4-shot and infinite 5-shot kill range, with great mobility, that's still something. The biggest issue is the aim shape. Even after trying different optics, settings, and other things, it still has the steadiness of a 4-year-old with ADHD. Coming in at 36 is the MK2. This is the second best one-shot marksman rifle in the game. Its strongest point is the ADS speed with 237 milliseconds. It's honestly absurd, and I was baffled when I saw that stat. The iron sights are quite bad though, which makes it a bit too hard to exploit to be ranked higher. Here's Kilo 141 at 35. It's basically a Krig for free-to-play players, so in this list, it's obviously a bit higher than the Krig. It has pretty much equal stats but smoother recoil, less aim shake, a better iron sight, and no need for a red dot. That's a no downside weapon, and we're all for it. At 34, we have the Rytec AMR. This is widely known in competitive play for being a fast fire rate one-shot sniper. It's usually used with a tactical scope to make it feel like there's less recoil and to also have a larger FOV, like with the SVD in the past. This thing is insane for playing long range and holding lines. At number 33, we have the BK57. Basically a Kilo V2, which we forgot in the top 10 AR video, but with a 3-shot kill potential in the first range if you're able to hit one chest or headshot. The recoil is even smoother than what we have on the Kilo 141. The mag size is slightly smaller with 40 bullets instead of 50, and the iron sight is quite obstructing, but it shouldn't be much of an issue. Next at 32 is the UL736. This thing has 42 meters of potential 3-shot kill range. It's insanely stable, insanely slow, and has clear iron sights. The perfect LMG for long-range engagements if you're able to hit the upper body consistently. Coming in at 31 is the AK-117. Outside of the HVK and the PP-50, which are way too stupid good, this is the third best flex AR behind the Peacekeeper and the Type 19. The biggest problem is that it has a random recoil pattern, and it can either go left or right every 5 bullets. At 30, we have the PKM. This is the true LMG by excellence with 32 meters of easy potential 3-shot kill range and infinite 4-shot kill range. This thing is slow, stable, and incredibly efficient as an anchor. For all my spawn holders out there, give it a try. We have the QQ9 at number 29. With the 10mm mag, this thing is the HVK of SMGs with 24 meters of 4-shot kill range and 16 meters of potential 3-shot kill range. Pair that with great mobility and you have the strongest SMG for S&D in our opinion. At the 28th spot, we have the PP-19 Bison. This is the weapon you want to give to your friend who just started the game. But even if you're not new to the game, this is one of the best flex SMGs you can use. It has incredible mobility, decent time to kill, and good range, and it's incredibly easy to use with no recoil, a clear iron sight, and a super large mag. At 27 is the Kilo Bolt Action. This is the iconic marksman rifle. It was quite bad in the past, but since the latest buff, it's quite a beast with an infinite DLQ like one-shot hitbox and a quick ADS time. It definitely is a strong choice nowadays. Making it at 26 is the KRM-262, with crazy good hipfire accuracy paired with astonishingly fast mobility. We even saw some of this gun in Stage 5 this year, which was incredibly fun to watch. Taking the 25th spot is the Peacekeeper MK2. It has 39 meters of 4-shot kill range paired with stupidly fast mobility. The only issue? The recoil, which with a bit of practice feels like BP-50 recoil, but that requires a bit of work, we agree. Moving to number 24, here's the Locust. It's the 4th best bolt action sniper. It can't carry a suppressor, it's not that fast, it has horrible flinch, and it doesn't have a crazy fire rate, but it can one-shot. At 23, we have the GKS. It's basically a DRH with SMG mobility and also SMG range restrictions. It has 24 meters of potential 3-shot kill range, which is honestly easy to achieve. The mobility is crazy, and if it wasn't for the awful screen shake it has, this would be really easy to use. Coming in at 22 is the Koshka. It's the third best bolt action sniper. It can't carry a suppressor, it's super fast, has bad flinch, and doesn't have a crazy fire rate, but it can one-shot. Here's the LK24 at 21. It's stable, accurate, and has 60 meters of 4-shot kill range. That's exactly what we need from the best 4-shot kill passive AR. But don't expect to be able to gunfight properly under 20 meters with this unless you get a 3-shot kill. The mobility is way too slow. At 20, we have the KN44. From the LK24, if you're fine with trading a bit of steadiness for a bit of mobility and flexibility, then KN44 should be your go-to. It's still as effective at long range, but way more usable in close range. Definitely not a bad choice. Up next, we have the Groza. Technically, it's a PDW V2 with a harder to control recoil pattern, but the value you gain from using this over a PDW isn't that huge, and it doesn't have the easy to use aspect of the PDW. Feel free to try it, but it's really up to preference. Taking the 18th spot is the HS0405, and you're probably wondering why it's above the KRM. Next season, it will receive a buff, or it may have been buffed already by the time you're watching this, making its one-shot consistency in the second range so good that it'll be basically a sniper up to 17.5 meters. Now, you don't have the mobility nor the fire rate of a KRM, but it'll still be, in our opinion, the best one-pump shotgun. We have the DLQ-33 at 17. It's the second best bolt action sniper. It can carry a suppressor, it's not that fast, it has bad flinch, and it doesn't have that crazy fire rate. But it can one-shot. Coming in at 16 is the Manoir. This gun with the thermite mag can destroy score streaks insanely fast, while also being able to 2-shot kill up to infinity. It's weird and toxic, but efficient. We highly advise you to have a loadout with it, ready to destroy score streaks. At 15, we have Type 19. This is the best flex AR if you take out the BP50 and the HVK. It's not the best statistically, but since it's incredibly easy to use, it's easy to exploit it at its full potential. Taking the 14th spot is the CX9. This is the second best close quarters combat SMG in the game. The CX9 is basically a Fennec V2, but the Fennec has slightly better fast time to kill potential, and for the same shots to kill, it has a slight time to kill advantage. Holding the 13th spot is the PDW-57. This is the best flex SMG in the game right now, vastly overshadowed by the BP-50, which is just a PDW with no downsides. On paper, the Groza is better, but in the same way that the Type 19 is better than the Peacekeeper in reality, the PDW, by being easier to exploit, is better than the Groza. Here's a surprise for you. The Argus at number 12. This is the most underrated weapon in the game right now. It is a sniper with shotgun type aim assist, with no hitbox constraints, with 160 milliseconds of ADS time and 15 bullets. The only limit to this weapon is that pellets disappear after 50 meters, which is more than enough, since after that, due to the BSA, your pellets would spread too much to one shot anyway. Coming in at 11 is the DRH. The only great thing about this weapon is its ability to kill within 210 milliseconds. Apart from that, it's not that great. The hitbox is quite inconsistent, the mobility is awful, and unless you have the skill level to consistently get that 3-shot kill, I wouldn't advise you to use this weapon. But as mentioned in the pinned comment, the skill level used as a reference is higher than from the other videos, so it ended up here. Breaking into the top 10, we have the MG42. This is the strongest LMG in the game right now. It has more than 1000 RPM, no recoil, and deadly accurate BSA. This is the one you want to use as a flex LMG in the game right now. At number 9, it's the good old SKS. Infinite 2-shot kill potential with a 1-shot headshot potential. Nothing needs to be added to this. Taking the 8th spot is the Type 63. You could call it the new SKS. Basically, it's an SKS with fast mobility and a slightly more punitive hitbox on leg shots. If you're accurate, that's definitely the weapon you want to use as a replacement for the SKS. For number 7, here's the Fennec. This is the best close quarters SMG in the game. Considering we don't include pay to win skins, That means you'll have to use a red dot on it, and even then, it'll be fine. Compared to the CX-9, it has a slightly faster time to kill for the same shots to kill, and a harder to control recoil, but it has better hipfire BSA and reload time, which makes it feel way better for aggressive play. Moving forward at number 6 is the Odin. This is the best passive AR in the game. It's a full auto SKS with 26 meters of easily achievable 2-shot kill range, and after that, it's at least a 3-shot kill, if not a 2-shot kill. It's deadly accurate and super stable. This thing can outgun pretty much anything if you're able to 2-shot kill, so just like the HVK, you can use it anywhere, and as long as you hit your shots, you'll be fine. In 5th place, we have the XPR-50. This is the best semi-auto sniper, good for both SKS playstyle and true sniper playstyle. This thing is what the SVD was, plus what the Outlaw is right now. If that doesn't make it crazy good, I don't know what will. Taking the 4th spot is the HVK-30. This is the only classic AR that can defeat the BP-50. It's way harder to use due to its recoil, its mag size, and its iron sights, but if you're comfortable with it, it's definitely something you could use to defeat BP-50 users. At number 3, here's the LW3 Tundra. It's the best bolt-action sniper. It can carry a suppressor, it's super fast, has incredible flinch resistance, and a crazy fire rate. And guess what? It can one-shot. Coming in at number 2 is the R90. This is the most overpowered shotgun we've ever seen. It has great one-shot consistency up to about 10 meters and great 2-shot consistency up to about 20. It also has fast mobility and a decent fire rate, making entries easier. It's simply the best shotgun. And finally, the king of the hill, the BP-50. Up to 35 meters, nothing can beat this. It has the steadiness of an LMG, while having the mobility of an SMG. It also has a huge mag size, no aim shake, no recoil, no flinch, and crazy damage. The only issue is that the reload time is about 0.3 seconds longer than our standards. That's our list. If you disagree with the rankings, let us know in the comments. Huge thanks to Z and Alux for all the hard work on this one.